This Week in America, episode number 6, we got a lot to talk about, y'all. We are entering week 4 in the Iran war, Trump and Israel's war on Iran. So we're going to dive through some clips, talk about how Trump is not a serious president, all the money they also want to get from the government, and we'll just analyze what's been happening. A lot has been happening. And before we begin, I want to give a big shout out to Michael B. Jordan for winning the Best Oscar Actor Award at the Oscars for his role in Sinners, his dual role in Sinners. And big shout out to Ryan Coogler and everyone else who participated in making that movie. Now let's get to it. So the Pentagon is seeking more than $200 billion, a new budget request for the Iran war. They're asking for $200 billion to continue this war. It's been about 3 weeks. We're entering 4 weeks, which is kind of crazy. They said this could be over in days. It could be over in weeks. Here we are. But $200 billion, okay? And if you think about this, they gave Ukraine $100 billion over some years of time. The Iraq war was about $180 billion a year. We a few weeks in and they need $200 billion. Think about that. Up to 5,000 U.S. Marines and sailors dispatched to the Middle East. 2 ships full of sailors and Marines have left the West Coast. They left San Diego and they're heading to the Middle East. They'll be there, I don't know, in 2 weeks maybe. Boots on the ground, y'all. Boots on the ground. That's what it seems like. And this update was very interesting. Donald Trump asked the world to join a multinational naval coalition to keep the Strait of Hormuz open. So Italy rejected, Spain, France, Japan, Norway, Canada, Australia, Germany, China, UK, Netherlands, and South Korea. America looks increasingly isolated. So Trump said, hey, we won the war on day one, the first hour. He says they've been obliterated 6 months ago, all their nuclear capabilities. He says their leader is gone, regime change. He does all these claims, right? All of these claims. And here we are. Trump is asking for help. He says the military of the United States is the greatest, the strongest ever. Now he's asking for help. Then he also says we don't actually need no help. We already won. So he's just going back and forth, back and forth. And I think it's very intelligent of these countries to not get involved in something like this. Just don't make no sense, y'all.
Post-Midnight Hammer, that process played out completely differently. Now, obviously, they can say that I was cut out of the meetings, Miguel was cut out of the meetings, but I just didn't see a robust debate taking place at that deputies level, at that National Security Council level. I think you really just had a lot of key policymakers at the cabinet level that were around President Trump. And that's the president's prerogative if that's what he truly wanted. However, I think a lot of those key decision makers were also heavily influenced, not necessarily by the intelligence coming out of the 18 intelligence agencies, the U.S. intelligence agencies. I think they were also heavily influenced by a lot of these Israeli officials who were coming directly to them. And I think because they wanted to so tightly compartmentalize the president's circle that he didn't get a chance to hear any dissenting voices. And I understand, I like Caroline. I think she's very good at her job. So she's got to come in and say this and refute what I'm saying. But I think if you look at what's publicly available, if you just look at the night that the operation launched, you look at who was in the White House Situation Room and then who was down in Mar-a-Lago with the president. They had, an entire group, a small group that was down there just with the president, what you had the DNI, the vice president, other key members of the cabinet, the intelligence community, who were, way far away from those decisions that were.
This guy told the truth. He told the truth. He exposed that Trump is basically dominated by Israelis, Zionists, Netanyahu type people. Now they want to investigate him, put him in jail for being a true American hero, an active soldier in the past, 11 deployments, working for the government on counterterrorism. He said there's no imminent threat. This is a lie. This is one of those impeachable type of moments.
Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker?
Well, you know, when she first got in and was named Speaker, I met her, and I'm very impressed by her. I think she's a very impressive person. I like her a lot. But I was surprised that she didn't do more in terms of Bush and going after Bush. It was almost, it just seemed like she was going to really look to impeach Bush and get him out of office, which personally I think would have been a wonderful thing.
Impeaching him?
Absolutely, for the war. For the war.
Because of the conduct of the
Well, he
war.
lied. He got us into the war with lies. And, I mean, look at the trouble Bill Clinton got into with something that was totally unimportant. And they tried to impeach him, which was nonsense. And yet Bush got us into this horrible war with lies, by lying, by saying they had weapons of mass destruction, by saying all sorts of things that turned out not to be true.
Now, ain't that interesting? He said impeachment for getting into this war in the Middle East. He's talking about Bush, right? Remember the Iraq war and all of that. Now, he's in the Iran war that he started based on some influence by the Israeli government, people like Netanyahu, Epstein people. And he says he obliterated their nuclear capabilities, but he said he's going in for those capabilities. Then it's about freeing the people. Then it's about oil. He doesn't know what's going on. He just knows Israel said do it.
Why didn't you tell U.S. allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about we Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay, right? You know, he's asking me, now you believe in surprise?
And I played that for y'all because it kind of just shows his character. Dude is a troll. And remember, the United States, if you're talking about Iran's nuclear capabilities, nuclear weapons, United States is the only country to ever drop an atomic bomb, a nuclear weapon on people. And he dropped it on the Japanese. One on Hiroshima, one on Nagasaki, the United States, in retaliation for shooting up a base in Hawaii, Pearl Harbor. He's trolling these people.
Well, look, we can have dialogue, but I don't want to do a ceasefire. You know, you don't do a ceasefire when you're literally obliterating the other side. They don't have a Navy. They don't have an Air Force. They don't have any equipment they don't have any spotters. They don't have anti-aircraft. They don't have radar. And their leaders have all been killed at every level. We're not looking to do that.
Mr. President?
Thank you. Thank you.
That's what defeat sounds like. A crazy old white man, a warmonger tied to Israel, sending young people to die. That's the leader of the United States. And that's what I got for y'all on This Week in America, AmeriKKKa, episode number 6.